If you enjoy this content, please take a moment to rate and review it. Your feedback will greatly impact our ability to reach more people. Thank you. All right, man, how's it going?
It's going well. It's approaching tax day, so I'm deep in tax fun.
You look very calm for someone approaching tax day.
I did some meditation before the show. So,
I thought you were about to say medication. So meditation,
yes,
I'm glad you went that way.
It's better.
I'm glad you went that way.
Yeah. It's just a fire drill every year. I mean,
for sure. Speaking of medication, last night I flew back in from Mexico City, and that was one of the roughest rides I've had in a minute.
Really?
All the storms that were going across the southeast.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole flight from Dallas to here was just moving. And I mean, like with the drops, like the roller coaster drops.
Right. It's not fun.
Yeah, man.
You're trying to work and then like everything gets turned around.
No.
Yeah,
like when it's like that, I don't even try to work.
Yeah.
I just have a drink and I'm just listening to music and I'm just trying to chill. Back to the the medication part. I was like, I'm kind of meditating, but I'm really just like, I'm wishing I was on an Ambien or something like that.
Right.
Well, this week we don't have like a ton of healthcare news because, quite frankly, world news is the bigger news. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, HIMSS was going on this week. I was looking for stories. There were a bunch of sort of, kind of things that were already announced that got talked about again. But yeah, not a huge week, news week.
Yeah.
Except for, of course, war and all that, which is, what everyone's focused on.
Yeah. And unfortunately, we're going to have to talk about as well. So not that I'm excited about it, but let's dig in. Inflation holds steady, but Iran war threatens to boost prices. This is the Wall Street Journal. CPI has changed from a year earlier. We are right now at a core of around 2.5 and overall 2.4. That looks pretty good on this chart, right?
Yeah.
Compared to where we were certainly years ago. And overall, we were trying to get to 2. This is around the closest we've been to 2 since Powell has taken on this whole sort of gauntlet to get it to 2. So what's your thoughts? I mean, I'm seeing snapshots of gas prices here in Nashville that are approaching $5. I'm hearing all sorts of stuff about prices going up across the board. So what are your thoughts on this? This is very, very looking back, right?
Yeah, this is backwards looking. And certainly if the war drags on and oil goes up and up and up, that's an input to almost a lot of products, maybe not every product, but a lot of products. At the same time, I'm pretty set that AI and technology is being deflationary pretty broadly as well. And I'm hopeful that the Trump administration kind of winds down this effort. I don't know how much is left to destroy in Iran that we would take time to do. So hopefully it'll end soon, but who knows? So if we can get the war over, I really like where the CPI is. And the fact that Powell was taking a wait-and-see approach, I think doesn't mean anything because there's a new sheriff in town soon.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I don't think there's any. Most of the stories that I've read in the Financial Times when I was watching Bloomberg, the guys at Citadel, et cetera, were all basically saying that no matter how fast we get out of the war, that these prices will be up for a while, right? Because there's all sorts of reverberations through the GCC, around all this stuff, and so when you dial it up, it takes a while to unwind it. And so this relatively low point of 2.4 overall may just serve to create a really big inflection point next month when we look at this very same number and we see a real rate of change with a steep climb up. I would anticipate it goes over 3 in the next reading, right? Pretty quickly.
Yeah, maybe. I'm more hopeful than that, but we'll see.
We will see. So escalating the Hormuz crisis raises the specter of a prolonged closure, and this is kind of what I'm.
Yeah, right.
This is what I'm worried about. Hopes for quickly reviving trade through the strait are dimming without U.S. naval escorts as Iran steps up attacks. Right. So even if you stop the attacks, there's a there's a period of making sure that the stop is real and it's not a ruse from a war perspective, right? We have a brand new leader that's just been installed in Iran.
Right.
Maybe he feels the need either for revenge of murdered family and, not just his dad, but, many members of his family murdered, right? That's all part of the equation. It's just there's just a lot here. It's just complicated. There's a lot here, and it feels like we're gonna get a bump. But anyway, what are your thoughts on this part of it?
I think obviously there's danger going through the strait, but it's also an insurance thing. I mean, the maritime insurance does not cover for this going through the strait at a wartime. The Trump administration tried to put in place a policy where the United States would kind of backstop that. But it didn't work. Didn't fit with whatever the insurance regulations are. So that's going to be an issue that sort of lingers until it's over.
Yeah. And then finally, depending on how you look at it, could be good news, could not be good news. Healthcare is the lifeblood of the labor market. We have been tracking these jobs reports, and we have continued to identify this, but it seems that it's now gotten into general population as job cuts keep happening across really most other industries. I don't want to go so far as to say all, but certainly most other industries are experiencing significant job cuts, and healthcare is continuing to hire, right? So when we see job numbers and it's like, oh, wow, we had a good jobs month, it's entirely because of healthcare.
Right.
Entirely because of healthcare. And that's good because it's stabilizing the labor market, but it is a skilled form of labor, which we don't have an endless supply of. It'll be good for anyone who's certifying or training those people. This labor market sort of undergirding bumps up against core budgetary problems we have in this country. On the other side of this, we have policy that's saying that the healthcare industry needs to lower its costs, right, across the board, whether we're talking about pharmaceutical drugs or we're talking about providers or we're talking about being more stringent on how payers are delivering their services. And all that's going to result in, over the course of the coming years, a need to trim back this labor, right? So it feels to me like we're getting a reprieve, but this is not a long-term solve for the labor market in the United States.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think that healthcare needs the workers it has now.
Today.
If we bring technology in, I think it's more likely that health systems providers will expand the services they're offering, hopefully at, higher margins, even on a lower reimbursement rate, because the same number of people are able to treat more patients. And so it's good for our listeners and for us as investors that healthcare is holding on and sort of being a source of employment. But it's not going to, we can't carry the entire labor market.
No.
It's just not, as you said, there's certifications and qualifications that not everyone has. But also we just need other job creation engines to exist. But yes, the general media is starting to pick up on this now, which I guess is positive.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would say for us, working in this industry, investing in this industry, it is a far more stable industry to be doing that in, right? I mean, obviously, we're looking to leverage AI to make things more efficient, effective, blah, 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 to assist these workers, right? For sure. But you don't have the free fall that some of these other industries have. And we're going to talk about that when we get to the AI section, right? Some of the cuts where organizations are strategically, and it's really kind of an imperative, shifting from having many, many workers to redeploying that capital into data centers that will power agents, that will be, as Dario Amodei calls them, a country full of geniuses in a data center.
Yeah, and I think in healthcare, at the end of the day, there's a lot of digital health, but much of healthcare, you have to actually interface with the human body physically and draw blood or do a procedure, do an operation. Many procedures, there's a physical aspect to it. And that protects the work for humans. And maybe robotics will come in eventually, but we're a long way from being able to produce robots at scale that can do anything useful in healthcare. That might come in the next few years. But right now, it's really the digital markets that are getting, much more effective delivering their products without any humans at all.
Agree. Yeah. And look, AI would do precious little to take care of my parents right now, right? So even in this article, they're focused on an aging population, drawing workers to medical and social care. I mean, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, I need people.
Yeah.
Taking care of my parents, right? Not an AI.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, and even when there's a robot that can do it, I think it's going to be a long time before it has the same like human touch and ability to comfort someone.
Yeah.
In a robot form. It's just not that natural of a comforting thing.
Agree. All right, moving to the VC rundown. New Medicaid-focused doula provider, Malama, launches with $9.2 million. I do have to say, this is in the same class as the company that we have in Jumpstart Novo, which is called May, that also recently closed a large round. So I think obviously there's room for a lot of support, but I think we're also seeing, that there is support for this model, right? Of making sure that there's whole care wrapped around Medicaid recipients, because it's going to result in better outcomes, which is going to result in lower cost of care pre, during, and post-birth.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, maternity and birth is a huge source of expense. And honestly, sometimes it doesn't go that well. Having the doulas there really, I think, is a huge benefit.
Yeah. So Malama is in network with Medicaid plans in California, Texas, and Colorado. Like I said, I think this problem deserves way more capital than the $9.2 million. And May has raised about an equivalent, maybe a little bit more than that. But this is a really big problem, and I'm happy to see some momentum around these care models specifically focused on Medicaid. And again, this is a great workforce booster, right? Because you don't want AI taking care of pregnant expectant mothers who are on Medicaid. That's not the solution.
Right. And then they got a grant too, which is pretty interesting. It's a second NIH grant. We got one in our portfolio, not in maternal health. But NIH is starting to give out grants to early stage companies, which is good to pay attention to. That
seems to track alongside, this administration, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're very, very focused on commercializing innovation, right? And you could see how they would come up with some model for, instead of granting research, granting companies, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, they'd rather commercialize what's already than go invent some new thing.
That seems to track with their philosophy. Amigo AI raises $11 million to close the gap between healthcare demand and clinical capacity. This company was founded in New York. $11 million Series A led by Madrona. We know the Madrona folks well. And so I actually should talk to them about this. But tell me about this company.
Yeah, so it's an AI agent company designed to sort of help patients. Really, care navigation is sort of the general category, I think. So how do patients navigate this? How do they book a new appointment if they want to change? What labs they have to do before they come in? We have a couple similar companies in our portfolio, but it's a huge space and I think a good use of AI.
Yep. One to track. Nitra rakes in $187 million to simplify the business of running a healthcare practice. So what round is this? Because that's a lot of capital.
Yeah, they've raised more previously. I don't know what round it is, but they have raised.
Goodness gracious. They launched in 2024.
Yeah.
So, not even 2 years ago. And they've now raised $205 million.
Yeah, in total over a couple
Holy
rounds.
Cow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So New York based. Let's look at what's the rundown of their investors here. NEA is like a big name. Soma Capital, big name. A bunch of these names I don't know quite as well. Actions Capital, Comma Capital, Hyphen Capital, Mana Ventures, Necessary Ventures, Pantera Capital, I know. There's no offense to any of these names. It feels like I need to get them on my radar. And I should know them because this is a lot of capital being deployed here. So what's the deal with this company?
So this is back office AI. Probably one of the first use cases was revenue cycle. Revenue cycle, once you extend into staffing and kind of working with the team, is sort of the back office. And so that's what they do. They sort of wire that up and help you manage your practice more effectively. There's a lot of competition in this space, and I guess that's why they raised the money. But it's, this is a challenging one to make.
Yeah. Can we talk about that first? Just a quick second?
Yeah.
Just a quick second, because I think this is, you and I are talking about this a lot just in our week-to-week strategy sessions. $187 million in capital raised. So what do you want to guess the valuation is? I mean, like, we haven't read it in PitchBook. We don't know. We've not seen the terms. We don't know. But what do you want to guess?
I mean, let's be generous and say it's $500 million.
Okay. All right. So
I think it's probably more than that, but so let's say
sure. So $500 million. It's going after the business of running a healthcare practice. Okay, got it. The money's in. The money's in the company. It's achieved that valuation in 2 years, right? $500 million. So you really, I mean, that's venture money, right? That's not, I mean, it's
if you go down, they say how many facilities they're in.
Okay, how many facilities are they in?
They were in like 30, 40 facilities. The question where I think you're going is...
Oh, no. It says here it's used by more than 700 clinics.
Clinics.
Okay, 700 clinics. But like, you know...
Clinics can be different sizes.
Clinics could be different sizes and all sorts of different things there. Okay, all right, fine. I mean, I'm just really curious, like how big that company can get.
Yeah,
I don't want to say that it smells like Olive, because, you know, Olive came out in a time where AI wasn't quite real yet.
Yeah.
Now AI is real, but now that it's real, it's also like distributed. Like we've all got it, right? So the idea that you are massively defensible is pretty low. So I'm not trying to interrogate this particular deal. I think it's more just around the venture model, around deploying this amount of capital this quickly. I mean, a lot's got to go right.
Yeah.
Right? A lot's got to go right. It doesn't mean it can't. It can. But a lot's got to go right to make that work. Like, because you would think for that kind of capital at that risk that early on, you probably want a minimum 5x on that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that company needs to get to 2.5 billion.
Yeah. I don't think...
Who buys that?
That's what I mean. I don't know who would buy it. That's the right question. There's no... Let's say they're successful. They either need to be a public company or they just sell for $2 billion to somebody. All the buyers, I mean, Oracle's not going to buy it. Amazon's not going to buy it.
They need to go public.
Yeah,
they need to go public.
Yeah, but yes, I think I think the strategy of raising a ton of money and then kind of flipping it before you have to cash flow is hard today.
It's not our strategy, that's for sure.
Right.
It's not our strategy. But I do look at it and I just kind of go, you know, and not only is it not our strategy, but it's not like a Frisk Cressy strategy, and they're like tremendously successful, right? But I mean, you don't see them 2 years in hopping into a deal 187 million deep.
No.
2 years in. You know, maybe 50, maybe 50 million, you know, which is not nothing, but that's different than 187, right? It's just different scales.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think I've been thinking a lot about what is going to be defensible in AI.
Right.
And the models are watching what everyone is using them for.
The cloud hosted models.
Yeah. So Claude, Gemini, OpenAI.
Specifically hosted, though.
Yes.
Not licensed where you're using the model, but you're the host.
Yes. Because
Which you can do.
Yes. But
you can do it with Gemini for sure. And I think you can do it. I think on OCI you can do it with Claude.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think in general they are watching and then they just sort of incorporate those capabilities into the next run. And so I think it's really data and distribution. If you have proprietary data that the big tech companies don't have, I think that can be a moat or an advantage over time.
Yes, and you know, back to your point where we were talking about CPI, AI is deflationary, right? And so I think of all the things that concerns me, if you're taking in that kind of money, you have to be okay. I don't want to say have to be. I am assuming you're not a bank. I'm assuming you are raising that money to spend that money. And that makes me think that the spending makes its way into your pricing. And that somebody can just raise less and charge way less.
Right.
You know, and because AI is deflationary, right? Like people, smaller teams with less money can deliver very similar outcomes at much lower costs, and therefore don't need to charge nearly as much in order for their own margins to be healthy, right? And I think this is the general early stage versus late stage shift that's happening in the AI era. This is my view on it.
That's right. I think we are biased towards the early stage.
Well, finally,
side.
we have a tailwind against these guys who can raise like billions of dollars, right?
Yeah. But I think if you have $1 billion fund, it's hard to deploy it, right? So this company has some distribution, and maybe they can create some kind of data moat, but it's pretty hard in the space where they are. The back office, it's just pretty. I mean, reimbursement is reimbursement. You can get better at it, but you're not going to invent some new thing that no one else has, I don't think.
Right.
Now, we haven't seen this deal, but it seems to me more like it's in New York City. They got, I'm sure they had a good pitch, and they found a bunch of companies that wanted to deploy capital.
Man, that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money in the AI era, you know? Let's move to our one policy story. Vinay Prasad, controversial FDA leader to again depart agency. His planned departure is expected at the end of April. It culminates a tumultuous term in which he reworked vaccine guidelines and was criticized for his office's stance on several rare disease drugs. This is biopharma dive. I mean, I just keep thinking Dr. Makary is like struggling with his staff over there, you know? I mean, he fought to get him in, you know? And then he fought him to get him back.
I know. I mean, I think it probably is just some kind of this makes me think there's some kind of vision, belief, direction that he wants to go that Makary or the Trump administration or someone.
Makary. RFK Jr.
Yeah.
Right. I don't think this bubbles up to Trump's level, but I think there's something that's not jiving between Vinay Prasad and Robert F. Kennedy.
Somewhere in the chain. Right.
Something's not lining up very well.
Right. Exactly.
Right. I mean, and the FDA is really the only agency that's had all these sort of staff movements, right? I mean,
and CDC has been hard too.
Well, that's been different. I mean, that like they don't have a head, a proper head, right? I mean, that's a whole like gutting of that agency, right? So, all right, well, I don't think there's much more to say there other than sorry to see this guy come go, you know.
Right, maybe we'll back again. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? All right, one story on the payer side. Aetna to pay $117.7 million to settle the Medicare Advantage upcoding allegations. This is Fierce Healthcare. They are going to pay this to the DOJ. So look, these payers are just settling. They're cleaning up the issues. They're paying, and I think they're trying to put this stuff behind them. So this now makes Cigna.
Well, I don't think Cigna has it resolved, do they?
The PBM situation, right?
The PBM got resolved. But the upcharging, we were talking about 2 weeks ago, maybe they're going to stop taking patients at the end of March if they don't come to a settlement. Cigna still has some work to do, I think.
Yeah, okay.
But yes, the Aetna is pretty behind them.
Yeah, which is really good for CVS because they just had a good quarter.
Yeah.
And now putting this behind them. So the turnaround seems to be really moving quite nicely for CVS.
Yes.
I mean, obviously, no one wants to pay anything, but you got to put it behind you.
Yeah.
You got to put it behind you, and you're not going to win. You're not going to win here. So okay. All right. Good for Aetna. They're on the other side of it. Good for them. Moving into health systems, despite insurers' expense pains, Tenet Healthcare is securing healthy commercial rates through 2027. Another Fierce Healthcare story. When was the last time that either HCA or Tenet has said things were good and the other one said things were bad?
Never. They
rhyme 100% of the time. It's like if HCA says things are good, Tenet's going to say things are good. If HCA says things are not good, Tenet's probably going to say things are not good, with the only exception that Tenet was a little bit ahead on the ASC business. Mm-hmm. But I mean, these two are these are the names.
Yeah.
These are the names.
They are well run. They've got their assets deployed in a way that gives them leverage over the payers or leverage in negotiation
Leverage
with
in
the payers.
negotiation. Leverage in
Not
negotiation.
over.
Yes.
And that's resulting in good contract rates.
What else to say?
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
they have the core business down.
Right. I would not say this is indicative of the general health system market.
That was why
but those two are great.
Yeah, sorry, but that was why
why you went there.
That's why I went there.
Right.
Yeah, because these two, you can kind of set your your watch to it, and they really are a false flag for the overall industry, right? I mean, now the overall industry, especially like the big nonprofit players, are actually doing quite well. Thankfully, it's great to see them getting their financials sort of back in order. But these for-profits have been knocking out of the park for a while.
Yes.
Without even thinking about it. Okay, and then UHS is going to buy Talkspace. So
yeah, this was a big story. This is the one that I was most surprised about this week. But I think it's a great move. So UHS is majority behavioral health, really known for behavioral health. That's what they focus on.
I mean, their behavioral health business is what's making the business work, right? The health system piece it's there.
Yeah. And Talkspace is an independent virtual only. So I think it's a pretty good combination.
Yeah, I agree. And let's see how this goes. It makes me think about when Teladoc bought, was it BetterHelp that they bought? Yeah. And like that just got really messy. But I think this makes more sense, right? Because you're combining virtual with live, right? And you're really sort of creating the ability to triage based on acuity at scale and really focus in on being like a national leader, a true national leader in behavioral health, which I think they already are, but adding a high quality asset like Talkspace, I think is great. And it's interesting to kind of see that price, right? Because here we go, Vic, like we were just talking about the price that other country, Nitra, I think is the name of it, would need to get to. Right. Talkspace was acquired for $835 million, right? Like that other company needing to get to $2.5 billion based on our outside. We don't know anything about the deal, but that's a long way, man. That's a long way.
Yeah. And I think the difference Teladoc to UHS is an established platform and they have real capacity issues. I mean, unfortunately, behavioral health, there's too many people suffering and not enough clinicians to treat them.
Right.
And so I think it makes sense to buy a virtual system so that you can accept more people and then maybe funnel in the more in need of inpatient, somehow triage it. Whereas Teladoc was not that they didn't have capacity issues. They're sort of trying to buy something to change the story, maybe. So.
Yeah. So anyway, I think we agree this is a good good merger. Going into pharma, I wish we could stop talking about the woes of Novo Nordisk.
Novo keeps running into walls. I mean,
well, first of all, they were mad at Hims and Hers, and now they're back selling their weight loss drugs with Hims and Hers because, I mean, they need them. Yeah. They need the distribution, right? And quite frankly, Hims and Hers needs an official partner because they can't sell their compounds.
Right.
So this is a marriage of necessity.
Yeah, that's right. So it's a good partnership now that they have, both struck out with their independent partner strategy. They're joining up together. So
yeah, and look, Novo is not going to get their act together like Lilly to do their own direct thing and have it make any impact. They have enough like fundamental issues they got to deal with. Yeah. So partnering with a best of breed branding and distribution direct to consumer company like Hims and Hers, for them, it may hurt short term, it may eat into their profits or whatever, but like they got to stabilize getting their stuff out into the market.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
And a distribution channel that will rival what Lilly has put in place because they're getting smoked.
Yeah.
And then doesn't really help that the FDA has warned Novo Nordisk of unreported side effects tied to GLP-1 patients. The FDA underscored cases including 2 deaths and a suicide linked to patients taking semaglutide, but like not just any semaglutide, I think specifically Wegovy and Ozempic.
Yeah, that's right. And I think they were taking the Novo drugs when it happened, and it was not reported, at least not reported properly. And so they're in trouble on both fronts.
Now for some fun talk.
Yeah.
I feel like most of that
the industry was not that fun.
The industry was not that fun. Okay. Tokenization, Web3, crypto. Nasdaq is partnering with Kraken in a plan for 24/7 tokenized stock trading. So we already had New York Stock Exchange going live. Nasdaq is the tech brand, so they can't fall behind the New York Stock Exchange, quite frankly. It's interesting how the New York Stock Exchange kind of got ahead of them because of their exec who left and went and did the exchange and that went public and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, Nasdaq is partnering with Kraken. Kraken having a bang up 2 weeks back to back, putting their name back in the headlines in a time after a year of Coinbase just owning the headlines. So this is really strong. And of course, right, like Coinbase was going to pick partners and decide on certain things. I mean, they're getting really, really big and that is going to create opportunities for Kraken to work with people who, maybe Coinbase is not aligned with. So I think this is really cool. And also I think now we can officially say blockchains have revolutionized the stock market. Like it has now happened. Yeah. It's done. It's not a question anymore.
There is tokenized securities trading 24/7, and it's going to be every security, and then a bunch of things that we don't know of securities yet are going to be on blockchains.
Done.
Tradable.
Done.
Yeah.
Over. We don't need to talk about it's coming.
Yeah. I mean, I think as of this summer, people are just going to assume I can buy and sell anytime, because why would I have to wait till 9:30 to buy a stock? I just want to buy it when I get up.
That's right. That's right. Next story in Wall Street Journal, tokenized stocks are coming to a market near you. 5 things to know. So by the way, this week, the SEC chairs were doing a roadshow. The SEC and CFTC chairs were doing a roadshow on the podcast circuit.
Yeah, I heard the CFTC guy bankless.
Yeah, and then they both did an interview. SEC and CFTC did an interview on All In.
Oh, okay.
So Kalkanis interviewed them with Chamath playing color, and the message is pretty clear. Tokenization.
Yeah,
it's very clear. Tokenization. We're doing it. We're doing it. We're going to be the capital of the world when it comes to crypto. I mean, so many times that was said.
Yeah.
And that language is approved from the top. Right. And then, it's compounded with Trump's, Truth Social post about we have to get, clarity. We need market structure, the banks and Genius and all this other kind of stuff. So
and then he's got a bunch of his personal stuff. I mean, it's all aligned. I mean, they're going full on into tokenization.
Yeah. And here's the thing. You're not going to be able to wind this back.
No.
After this administration.
Doesn't matter who wins next.
It doesn't matter who wins next. It's over. You're not going to be able to wind this back. So, yeah, here we are. Big, amazing. Which
is great.
2026.
Yeah.
The year of tokenization.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I mean, it's just updating the financial systems. I mean, it's time. We need to do, when America should lead.
Yeah.
We're the financial markets leader on everything else. We need to do this.
100%. Okay. Ready for the AI rundown?
Yeah.
All right. Oracle shares jump as AI demand outpaces supply. Oracle's been in the news lately for some rumored layoffs. I haven't seen the official news on it, but lots of it seems verified rumors about internal discussions, very, very long severances that are going to be offered. So clearly this is a strategic, well thought out, strategy.
Redesign or reorganization to be ready for AI.
Correct. And they've got the balance sheet to do it and do it in a way that's totally kind of above board. And it's just changing the calculus of the business model, right? Instead of all these people, we're going to invest in data centers and have our country of geniuses operating, all manner of business operations.
Right. Yeah. And so this is the first of the cloud providers that has come in really saying that demand is outpacing what they can deliver. I think in the next 6 months, we're going to have a shortage of tokens, of AI capacity.
I don't think there's any question about that.
Yeah.
And people are going to have to start learning how to host their own.
Yeah.
They're going to have to start learning. You and I.
Yeah.
We talk about it a lot, so I feel like, and also Claude goes down when it gets a whole bunch of demand,
Right.
and it's like, that's not good, right? It's like, you need to. I think it's going to be getting some Mac Studios and getting familiar with Hugging Face,
Right.
and maybe
or
use
Open Router or whatever.
Open Router or whatever, and
And I just think it's interesting that the biggest capital investment in the history of mankind is the AI data center build out by a large margin. And it likely is not going to be enough. That's something that I think not many people have got their head around.
I agree. Microsoft unveils Copilot Health as an AI health companion for consumers. Had to do it.
Yeah.
Had to do it. You can't let ChatGPT have ChatGPT Health and you don't have Copilot Health. Just can't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, this is just a necessary response.
Yeah, and Microsoft has Azure is pretty well penetrated into healthcare. They have a lot of healthcare assets. I think they're going to be really competitive in health.
I think we've all stopped doubting Microsoft a long time ago, right? Like this company is a cockroach. You're not killing this company, right? I mean, they're just embedded in everything,
and they've done a good job playing the different labs, right? So they're partnered with OpenAI, but then they embedded Claude into Excel and PowerPoint. And I had moved off Excel onto Google Sheets just because it's easier. We're on everything else Google, but now I'm back.
Because inside of Excel, man,
Claude sits in there
is
and
amazing,
and it does stuff really fast and incredible.
And actually, by comparison, Gemini and Google Sheets is pretty trash.
Yeah,
it's actually like shockingly bad compared to Claude inside of Excel. Like that's just a low hanging fruit. Like please. Google, like I'm begging you, please.
I don't think
Gemini working in Workspace.
Yeah,
come on, it's such a low hanging fruit opportunity to make that whole thing so sticky.
Yeah, and I don't think they are interested in it. I mean,
well, clearly, I mean, it's not very good. Clearly, you can't use it.
Right, that's right. And so, it would have been easy just to put OpenAI ChatGPT in Excel, but I think it's brilliant that they are now sort of hedging. They have people like me that like Claude using Excel, and then there's a lot of OpenAI fans that also are now on Microsoft doing stuff. So they sort of they've played it pretty well.
Yeah, agree. CVS, Humana, and more are turning to Google's AI models. Google Cloud is partnering with healthcare organizations including CVS Health, Humana, Highmark Health, Quest Diagnostics, and Waystar to deploy agentic AI tools across patient engagement, clinical workflows, and revenue cycle management. Now, I do think Google Cloud is very, very slept on because they have built really, really great healthcare infrastructure, their APIs, their fire mapping, their integration capabilities, and it's a very developer friendly interface. It's really, really easy to sort of navigate Google Cloud and build stuff out, which is great for IT shops, right?
Yeah.
Great for IT departments. So this doesn't surprise me in the least, but to your point about where is their energy going, here's where it's going. It's not going
it's enterprise and then it's science.
Right.
Like how can they get to I think they're really interested in getting to AGI and then having like the model that eats everything.
Yeah. And Waymo and things like that.
Yeah. I forgot about Waymo.
Yeah, they don't care about Sheets.
But this story is why that other venture thing is just dead.
No, I don't. Well, and here's the thing. I wouldn't so much say it's dead.
Maybe not priced right, not dead.
Yeah, man. Like I don't.
I mean, is CVS going to buy Nitra when they have all of this back office on Google Cloud? I mean, I just don't. Maybe they have some secret sauce, but I cannot imagine what it would be.
Yeah, and so this is the point, right? So if you're locked out of most of the incumbents because the incumbents are going to partner with big tech, kind of as they should, right? Yeah. Kind of makes sense. The beauty of healthcare is it's very fragmented, and there's all sorts of like much smaller things. And I think
we were talking about a women's health thing this morning.
That's right. That's right. That's great. That's a wonderful thing. Now, having said that, do you need $200 million in capital to go after that market opportunity? I don't.
No, and the exit value doesn't fit. So like if you build a niche product and then you sell it for a niche-ish price, maybe it's 200 million, 300 million, but that's the pre-money that they are raising. So it just doesn't, the math doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, I put this in a very similar category to Epic, right? It's like, you and I will not invest in anything that we believe is remotely high on Epic's roadmap, right? Like we just won't do it, right? And a lot of that is market focus, right? It's like, it's not so much the feature, because they'll do any feature. It's the market focus.
Where are they? What market are they attacking?
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. All right, and final story: Amazon, One Medical's CMO, is saying that AI is the front door to healthcare. They're expanding access to their AI-powered health assistant, allowing anyone on the Amazon website to ask medical questions, interpret lab results, and connect to care if needed. So this whole rundown, if you haven't gotten the memo, big tech. Do you remember when healthcare used to laugh at big tech?
Yeah.
In Silicon Valley? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I think a lot of people still are laughing, but they're wrong.
Oh boy, laughing. You used to be laughing to the bank. Now you're laughing to the grave.
Right.
Like they're so well positioned to take over this industry.
Yeah.
So well positioned, Vic.
I mean, adding AI. So Copilot having AI is pretty interesting, but Amazon AI then connecting right into One Medical, that's a pretty good combination.
Agree.
Because there's a lot of stuff that I'll be chatting about with AI, but then I need to get a lab test, or I need a prescription, or I need something that AI can't write a prescription. So it's a pretty good combination, I think. And the front door to healthcare is a good way for One Medical to think about it. Like they're going to have this almost like a funnel coming in.
Yeah. So look, light week for healthcare stories.
A ton of stories.
It's HIMSS. I think it was relatively well attended, as far as I can tell. A lot of people that we know.
I talked to people that were there.
Yeah, I'm seeing LinkedIn pictures.
Yeah.
But I'm not seeing a flurry of news coming out of it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming this big tech news that was rolled out is all tied to HIMSS in some way, shape, or form,
maybe.
right? The timing of it.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, not that much happening there, because unfortunately we're in the early stages of a war, right?
Right.
That it does feel like I've watched a lot of analysis and the game theory, and it seems like people have basically said we're close to a stalemate. The escalation ladder for the United States and the escalation ladder for Iran are not compatible at all. It would require a China or a Russia really stepping in to get the escalation ladder up to, the scary things that we won't mention. And at the same time, the economic pressure and the world brand pressure from an economic perspective on the US is not very good. Iran has played their hand very well in terms of the Strait of Hormuz, as well as disrupting the economic activity in the Middle East. And so it's a little bit of a stalemate where there's not that much upside for either side anymore. And I hope that means we're going to start to retrench this effort a little bit.
I have tried not to predict what Trump will do because he's not predictable, really.
No.
But I think he should take the win and say they're not in a position to make a nuclear weapon. We have degraded their capabilities back 25 years or whatever he wants to claim, and then just declare victory and be done with it.
Which, by the way, I'm not seeing many people argue with, right?
Yeah, I think that's pretty true.
I think people
took out the top of the whole leadership.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of military installations that are destroyed. I think you could make that claim and take a victory lap and be done with it.
Yeah.
I mean, unless we put people on the ground, which we don't want to do, you're not going to change the 90 million people in Iran. It's too hard to do with bombs from the sky. I just don't think it works.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, fun to be in studio with you 2 weeks in a row. Yeah. We are inching to the Jumpstart Health Summit, and registrations are flowing in, which is really cool. So if you are in the family and you've got an invite and you're listening,
if you've listened till now, you should come.
You should be registered. Well, registrations are flowing in. I mean, we do have capped. There's a capacity limit. There's a capacity limit, but definitely if you've gotten an invite, or if you haven't and you think that you should, you can always hit Vic or I up.
Yeah.
and let us know. But we're excited that that program is coming together nicely, and then it'll be nice to get on the other side of taxes. So good luck with that for the next couple of days, buddy.
Yes, and I think I have a guest host next week, right? You're out, I think.
Oh yeah. I'm on vacation.
Yeah, I have a guest host. I'm not going to announce it yet.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm glad you got a book.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to listening.
Yeah.
Bye.